to cut a long story short, I'm a mentally ill retired alcoholic. Since I had my mental breakdown in 2013 and was let down massively by, and I'm going to do this, health and social care. And the reason I do that for health and social care is that I don't really trust it as a sentence or as a phrase, and I don't really know why. I just find it untrustworthy, and maybe I'll come a bit more onto that after. Lots of mental health issues, addiction issues. Since I had the breakdown, I was very angry. I started a blog. The blogs on there have been read about 14,000 times. Quite a few of the recent vlogs are about adult social care and my feelings on that, prompted by the work that I've done with West Midlands ADAS and the spring seminar conference with ADAS alone. I've done a fair bit of work with adult social care in Dudley, and I've dipped my toe in many areas with regard to. I've worked with the police, I've worked with the CCGs, I've worked with many other people, and basically I'm a mouthpiece, really. I have the strength somehow to be able to hopefully voice what other people are thinking. And I'll give you just a quick example of that. When I first went into a group called Coffee and Cope, which was run by Rethink, we were sitting around. There's lots of people like me, with anxiety, depression, whatever. And I said to them that I was going to make a complaint about how I was being treated by the NHS. And every single one of them said, don't do that. It will ruin your chances of getting any help. So every single one of those, about 9 people had complaints to be made, but they wouldn't make them because they thought it would give them a negative outcome. So the other thing, that the reason I do what I do, I think to a certain extent, is because I'm a man, and it's still wrong for men to talk about their feelings and their emotions. Well, if you get to watch any of my vlogs, you will see that I don't care what people think about my feelings and emotions. My feelings and emotions are real and natural. I'm a 48-year-old man who will admit to knocking on his mum's front door to have a bit of a cry and have a bit of a hug, and there's nothing wrong with that. More recently, I've been doing more work with social care, and this is where this phrase health and social care comes in. The phrase health and social care suggests that it's on an even keel. Well, I actually think this is health, this is social care. In reality, that's health, that is social care, and that's the reality of it. And this is where I distrust the phrase health and social care, because the NHS and other people seem to use it for their benefit, but then don't want to use it in other ways. And the other thing that people don't seem to understand is it shouldn't be health and social care anyway. It should be social care and health, because the truth is if we get social care right, if we move social care forward in the right way and have the practices that they're in the right way, then there will be a lot less stress on the NHS. So it should be social care and health. And it is really, really important. I come from a sales background, and I believe it's really, really important that this research is done. But earlier on, Luke mentioned, please don't diss the academics and researchers. And unfortunately, I'm about to do that because in a little bit of research of myself, by myself, I spoke to a number of people around me and told them what I was doing today, that I was excited and that I was nervous that I was going to be speaking to a bunch of, a group of academics and researchers. I was concerned that I would obviously bring the average IQ in the room right down with all these intelligent people around me. I don't mind that. That's not a problem. I'm happy to do that. And I didn't get one positive response. All I got was, what's the point of that? If you're going to be talking to academics and researchers, you might as well sit there and recite the Beano. I even had a situation where somebody was bad-mouthing cancer research, and you're like, oh, how can you diss cancer research? But they do. There's all this money ploughed into research. And then I thought about it as well. We often, how many times have we sat there watching the news and it says the latest research says this, the latest research says that. I remember one day shouting at the television that the next research paper comes out is going to prove that Tuesday comes after Monday. And I looked up, I wanted to try and find some obscure research papers. And I found one that was, do woodpeckers get headaches? Now, I'm being a little bit jovial, and maybe I am seeming to diss you guys out there. But what I want to say after doing that is I'm wrong. The people who had negative things to say, they're wrong. They're very, very, very wrong. My guess is there's an awful lot of research out there at the moment. My other guess would be that an awful lot of that research has been collected in different formats. So then that research becomes very, very difficult to interrogate and gain the right outcomes. So if we're going to go into this, we're going to go into research for social care, we've got to do it right. What people think is, oh God, here we go, another research paper that will go nowhere. We've got to get people past that. We've got to get people past this negative idea, because I don't know who first said it, but they said knowledge is power. All right. And I've got names of two people who prove that. There's a guy called Raoul Silver and a guy called Franz Oberhauser. Some of you won't recognize those names. Oberhauser, his mother's maiden name was Blofeld. Yes, these two guys are the last two baddies from the Bond films. And what they were after is knowledge. They spent millions and they upturned the world to gain the knowledge that they needed to be able to run the world. In the past, people, Bond villains, they looked for gold, they looked for money, land, and stuff like that. But even the Bond villains know that knowledge is power. And the thing about the knowledge is it has to be right. But what we have to do to begin with is we need to make sure everybody's bought into it. Because if people don't buy into it, it's going to be done in a half, no, I don't need to use that word. It's not going to work. So I may have said some fairly unpleasant things and joked about woodpecker having headache research panels. But this is important. This is watershed stuff. It really is. This is back to the walls time. We heard from Boris on the 24th of July, and I'm going to quote him here. And so I'm announcing now on the steps of Downing Street that we will fix the crisis in social care once and for all. With a clear plan, we have prepared to give every older person and dignity and security they deserve. Okay, Boris has this plan back in July. He's still keeping it secret. He's obviously a new Bond villain, right? But Boris got it wrong right back then. We need to redefine what adult social care is. He says we're going to get adult social care right, and then he talks about older person and dignity. just under 50%, you'll all know this, just under 50% of the social care budget is spent on people between the ages of 16 and 64. And it annoys me that people don't get that. We have to redefine, we have to make people understand what social care is. We need the people to buy into it. Now, the knowledge is out there, just checking time, the knowledge is out there. We need to pull it in. And if you're going to do any research into adult social care, it's not just practitioners, it's not just the people in your field that you need to be talking to. You need to be talking to the third sector. They have so much data that you guys may not think about asking for. You need to be talking to the carers at home, the unpaid carers. You need to be finding out where this block is between the NHS and social care. There is definitely a block. And what I've seen and from speaking to lots of different people is there's a hell of a lot of money and time wasted on duplicating the same work over and over again. There needs to be a trust and respect. NHS needs to trust and respect social care, and social care needs to trust and respect third party. They also need to understand fully how difficult life is for carers. I hope people have got questions for me, but I've got a couple of questions for you guys out there. Is social care broken? Is it fixable? Do you know how to fix it? Those three questions may seem ridiculous, but let's find out. Just let's have a paragraph on how to fix it. To answer the question to is it fixable? Absolutely it is. I've worked with, the guys on the ground, the senior management, the guys at the top, all you people there. If anybody can fix it, you can. But if we're going to do it via research, it has to be research that is bought into. It has to be real research. I believe that what you'd need to do is get some early answers to let people know that the research is working. And I think one of the things that we all ask from our politicians, and I think we need to ask from you guys as well, is let's have some honesty. Let's have this. It's not. If it is broken, let's say that it's broken. We've tried so many different things. We're going around in circles. It's a really, really complicated thing. So we need to be saying to people, yes, it's broken. We're going to start building it again. But the problem is really what we need an injection of cash to get out in front of it. But that's not coming. We know that's not coming. Boris has already told us that's not coming. Our backs are against the wall now. The government is not going to come along and say, yeah, here's that £12 billion a year you want. It's not going to come. This is it. This is back to the wall. This is watershed. And now you guys have got to do it. Because at the end of the day, it's something that has to be fixed. Because if it's not fixed, we're talking about thousands and thousands of people's lives. And what I'll finish on one thing, if that's okay. We say it's broken. We say it's on its knees. We say it needs this. We say it needs that. But what we never hear is about the amazing work you guys do every single day. And there's this thing about there being 100,000 vacancies. And I find that weird as well, because 100,000 vacancies sounds like a lot, but according to Google, that's 7.3%. You can play a game of football with 10 men against 11 and you'll be fine. But if you try and play a whole season 10 against 11, you've got no chance. So I don't think with the news and the journalists or whatever, we as a people out here, we don't understand what the problem is. And I think we need to understand as well as you guys, because again, I'm wearing my special T-shirt, and I don't know whether you can read it on there. The team to get this right includes us at these people who live in the society that social care looks after.
Our research colleagues came to you and said, John, I'm interested in doing some research. What is it that would encourage you to say, okay, this is worth me giving my time and my energies to?
It's knowing that they care about it as much as everybody else. And And I think it's also important that they realise that their skill is the research, is that side of things, but you need to find a way where they can work together in perfect harmony. That's not going to be easy.
It's bringing your intellectual kind of knowledge, it's bringing your methodology, but it's bringing the heart back into social care research, that you are going to commit to it as much as people who would have to put it into practice, and those who would benefit from the services being done differently.
It's one of the things I've been saying quite a lot recently. Carers need to be allowed to care with their hearts again rather than their heads. And for me, it seems to me as if what we've got is and I can't think of another word to use, so I apologise for this. We're in a cover your ass at all times society, and it doesn't allow. It seems to me that carers aren't caring with their hearts. If that's not, it needs to be. There needs to be a way that the management, the bosses, and things like that needs to find a way to allow the carers to care the way they need to. And I know you can't do that very much these days. And it just quickly reminded me, I went back to a conference many years ago and it was about section 136, and it was adult social care, it was National Health Service, and it was the police. And they did nothing but argue for the first hour about whose job it was. The things that they did right, the things that were working, was the stuff that they did behind the back of the rules. And I said to one of the, I think she was an AMP at the time, I said to her, I said, it just seems like you guys aren't allowed to, use common sense. And she said, no, we're not allowed to use common sense. And that, for me, when you've got carers if they've got to think with their head all times. There was a carer I spoke to recently, said that if I ticked every box in the health and safety thing that I had to do, I wouldn't be able to do anything with my charges. And it's there needs, I know it's difficult, but the social care in itself needs to take more risks. And I know that's difficult because risk can cause problems, but there's stuff there that we haven't tried, and if you haven't tried everything, then you haven't finished the job. This comes from Chris Johnson, who was the Chief Constable of Birmingham Police at the time, and I sent him an email, and I sent various other people email, and he came back and he said there's so much remains to do, but he particularly liked this part of my email. What I will say is you all have simply amazing staff and colleagues. Find a way to let them be amazing. If you can allow them be the amazing people that they are, they will find the best way to work together to benefit everyone concerned. No one's going to turn up with bundles of cash to fix the issues. I don't even think cash would solve the issues, but I'm 100% sure your staff and colleagues have what it takes to make our world a much safer by tackling the issues as they arise as individual issues rather than a whole bunch of totally unsolvable issues at the same time.